The motor of this car roars so sweetly that it'll make you purr. Of course it will, because this is a Jaguar right now, right here. Greetings petrolheads, and welcome to a new chapter of It's a Mod world. As you can see, I'm back in a classic car. This is a Jaguar XK120, of which the first production car was delivered to Clark Cable. Yeah, I know, I have already tested a classic Jaguar and I have already tested classic sporting cars, but as I saw this mod and I saw how this car looks like, I could not resist. Let's get into this car. I haven't even started driving this car and I'm in love already. So detailed. See, the most important thing, even if people don't understand, are the RPMs. You know more or less what speed you're driving by watching how many RPMs you have and knowing on which gear you are. A shiny coupe. No, there is no motor in the motor. But my feet, they are in the motor, not on the pedals. Eee. Look at this beautiful, beautiful car. What an awesome machine. Now maybe the results in the wind tunnel are not perfect, but I'd rather drive this car than one of these boring, all looking alike cars that you see mostly nowadays, including the Jaguars. This is special for the racing version so that the wind does not get in the way. And this is specially done so that I don't see diddly. In case you're wondering, we are at the classic 1966 Monza, which comes included with Assetto Corsa. Ah, the roar! The roar! In these curves, with their little jumps, you hear the suspension. Grum, 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 suspension. Grum, grum, grum. And here comes the big jump. Whoop. The sound design of the motor sounds best at the beginning when you're starting the car and revving it up, than when you have it at high revs, because there is a loop and you hear it. I'm feeling the track. Oh, what a wonderful force feedback. Compared to the classic prototypes that I already tested, this car is quite easy to drive. It's very stable on the tracks, and the motor doesn't care about what I do with it. I don't know if this is an error in the mod, or if the motor in real life was as well behaved as it is in this mod. It threw me out of the loop and broke my concentration that the RPM counter goes counterclockwise. I was on the throttle and giving it more speed, and I thought that the RPMs were going down, which surprised me. No, it's just that the RPM counter goes the other way. The steering is as it was to be expected from a car of this time. It's not very precise, it's quite smooth. And look at this wheel, it's enormous! I suppose driving this car in nowadays Monza would be the source of many more problems. As it is, in this Monza, I just floor it most of the time and only have to brake here and there. I think I'm gonna change the gearing, make this car a little bit faster and the gears a little bit wider. 242 max speed? Let's see. Now I'm trying to find out where to change the gears, mostly where to upshift, and it's not easy. I'm not worried about the motor, but as there is a pause and a slight but noticeable speed drop, I want to find out where to change the gears, where to upshift without losing too much speed. With this car, it's not only possible to trail brake, to brake into the curve, it's even recommended. While the force feedback is good, it doesn't compare with what I consider my measure, which would be the force feedback in the classic prototypes mod. The force feedback on the other hand is good enough that every time that this car makes one of these little jumps, especially in these curves, it becomes a little bit unsteerable, a little bit uncontrollable, and for Monza 1966 is not an issue, but it may be for other tracks.
Whoa!
I always get scared with the jump at the end of the curve because you lose a little bit of grip and a little bit of steering. This, by the way, is the Drophead Coupe from 1953. The car was delivered as a roadster and as a fixed head coupe. Drophead Coupe is just a fancy way of saying that this car was a convertible, but not one where you could put the roof up or down at will, but you drove it either open or you drove it closed. If you were more prone to driving the closed version, you were driving the fixed head coupe. Yeah, all fancy names for saying it was a normal car or just a convertible. 3.63 liters per lap? You are a thirsty little thing, you. Flying out of this curve would be very dangerous, and there were drivers that died in those times flying out of this curve or flying out of the Parabolica. Monza was a very scary thing. By the way, these curves, these steep curves, are still there in Monza, but they are decaying, not being used, not being kept, so you will only be able to see the glory of times past. But you can go and take a look at them, visit the track. I miss the braking point. But I'm still surviving this. And I'm 1 second faster than before, so maybe I should miss the braking point more often? In 1954 they were wearing racing goggles, like the pilots in our logo. Nowadays I'm wearing VR goggles. My VR goggles are surely safer, the racing goggles look cooler. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on! We're better than these guys! Come on, my pony, you can make it! I'll give you an extra carrot. Oil, can of oil. Without any Corsa, I'd be lost because this lame excuse for a mirror does not show me well where the opponents are. Oh yeah, wheel-to-wheel racing. Whoa, look at that! What are these cars doing? Maybe the AI from Assetto Corsa is a little bit too aggressive for these kind of races or something in the mod, but it's funny anyway. I feel like in the middle of one of these classic race movies. While still being very good, this mod is not as good as the Prototype Legends mod. The steering feels a little bit off, and it's surprising that I can have the motor on high revs all the time without it even being a little bit disturbed by it. Mind you, this is nitpicking at a very high level because driving it is lots of fun, racing it even more, and it looks gorgeous. But there is a little bit missing, a pinch of salt if you want. Or let me put it that way, from the technical side it's not as good as the excellent Prototype Legends mod. From the enjoyment side, I don't care, it's lots of fun. But let's go point by point. The look is fantastic, there's nothing to say about it, it looks great, it feels great being in it, you're immersed in a classic car, so for the look I give it 5 eyes out of 5. The sound. It's got a fantastic roar on the low revs, but when you get on the high revs you hear the loop, it repeats a little bit, and once you've noticed it, it is in your head and it becomes annoying. On the other hand, you hear the suspension and it sounds quite realistic. All in all, the sound is very good, but it could be better. I give it 4 ears out of 5. With regards to the driving feeling, I've already said that it feels a little bit off, so I would be giving it 3 wheels, but I'm gonna give it 4 because it's lots of fun to drive. So there you have it, this mod is excellent, it only loses in comparison to the Prototype Legends mod, but if you're a fan of classic cars and you love to drive them in a simulation or even to race them in a simulation, you will do nothing wrong by loading up this mod. That would be all for today. If you liked this video, please applaud by leaving a like. If you didn't, please let us know why in the comments so that we can get better. If you know somebody that could be interested in this video, we'd be very thankful if you would share it. And if you want to see more of us, click subscribe and don't forget to click on the bell. And until the next time, safe fuel, take pickup, and we'll see each other at the podium. Visit romrom.net to connect to fellow sim racers and sim racing fans.